I will never be one to tell you what you should believe or what you should not believe. What I will say is that if you want to say that where we don't understand things, that's where God rests, the God of the gaps argument, because I get asked that all the time. What was around before the universe? I don't know. Must have been something, God. So they got to stick in God where we're not there yet. And I just say, well, we got top people working on that. It's a current frontier. We're not there yet. And given the history of the moving frontier, where people had previously said, well, God must be operating, we're long past that. Those explanations have come. And so there's no compelling reason to say God did it and then sort of give up and go on to the next problem.
The God of the gaps refers to a way of arguing that treats gaps in scientific knowledge as evidence for God. On this view, science explains a whole bunch of things, but when it cannot explain something, you just say, well, science can't explain it, therefore God did it. This is an argument from ignorance, and it's an informal fallacy. Now, maybe an example will help. Years ago, superstitious people thought that lightning came from the lightning god. Now, this was a gap in knowledge where many people just assumed God did it. However, using the methods of science, we now have come to believe that science can be explained as an electrical discharge. Now notice the god of lightning disappears as soon as you go into the lab and study atmospheric physics. Also notice how on this view, as scientific explanations increase, God explanations decrease. By the way, this is why many people think they have to choose between science and God. If you define God as a God of the gaps, then of course science and God are always going to be enemies. While there are some who believe in a God of the gaps, most thoughtful Christians do not posit God merely to plug in a gap in knowledge. Instead, they're positing a God where we have strong positive evidence for God as the best explanation of the available evidence. So these arguments are not based on what we don't know, they're based on what we do know. Interestingly, the Bible never defines God as merely a God of the gaps. As Oxford mathematician John Lennox points out, Genesis doesn't begin with the words, "In the beginning, God created the bits of the universe we don't understand." No, it says, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth." He created the whole show. This is why when Sir Isaac Newton discovered the law of gravity, he didn't say, "I have discovered a law, so I don't need God." Instead, he said, "This most beautiful system of sun, planets, and comets could only proceed from the counsel and dominion of an intelligent and powerful being." Isaac Newton did not view God as a God of the gaps, and neither should you.